standing for the national anthem. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And I would now like to invite the following dignitaries to take their place at the head table. The chief guest for today, Honorable Professor G.L. Pires, Minister of External Affairs. The guest of honor, Dr. Chandra Embundenia, Founder Vice Chancellor of the Uber University. The Vice Chancellor of the University of Colombo, Dr. W.K. Muringama. The Deputy Vice Chancellor of the University of Colombo, Professor Prema Kumar De Silva, and the Dean of the Faculty of Graduate Studies, Professor Sunil Chandrasiri. If you would please make your way to the head table, dear sirs. Ladies and gentlemen, now to welcome you all to today's proceedings in a formal manner, I cordially invite the Dean of the Faculty of Graduate Studies, Professor Sunil Chandrasiri, to deliver the welcome address.
Thank you, Sachinda. Good morning. The chief guest, Honorable Professor G.L. Pires, Minister of External Affairs, and former Vice Chancellor of the University of Colombo. Our guest of honor, Dr. Chandra Embundenia, Founder Vice Chancellor, ULS University. Our Vice Chancellor, Dr. W.K. Muringama, Council members, Deputy Vice Chancellor, my fellow deans, Professor T.R. Ariratna, Dean of Science, members of the TS Faculty Board, heads of departments, my colleagues from University of Colombo, sister universities, and from the business sector, Registrar, Bursar, Deputy Registrars, and administrative staff of the University of Colombo. Also, administrative staff of the University Faculty of Graduate Studies, led by Deputy Registrar Mr. Bandara, and also Senior Assistant Professor Mrs. Chandrasen. Paper presenters, graduates, and postgraduate students of the Faculty of Graduate Studies. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I warmly welcome all of you to the annual research sessions of the Faculty of Graduate Studies 2013, University of Colombo. Honorable Ministers, you are also the former Vice Chancellor of the University of Colombo. In spite of your busy schedule, thanks very much for accepting our invitation to grace this occasion. This is, Honorable Sir, this is a clear demonstration of your keen interest and support for academic work of the university community, particularly at the University of Colombo. The entire university community considers your decision to participate at this meeting as a strong source of support and encouragement for postgraduate research work. Honorable Sir, as I mentioned while I was coming with you upstairs, this is a multidisciplinary faculty. This is essentially research oriented. We have the highest number of PhD students working on different areas. We cut across different disciplines, and most of the PhD abstract presenters are from the PhD group. Also, this is the faculty which is entirely based on earned funds. So, in fact, as I mentioned, out of our income, 15% goes to the university funds, especially the Vice Chancellor's Development Fund, to promote student welfare activities. So, this is a different model which you have been practicing very well, and the response from the market, from the postgraduate students, and also from the entire academic community has been extremely good. Also, I should mention that in running this particular model, we have been getting a lot of support from the Vice Chancellor and 6 deans of the university. All 6 deans, Professor Jayasekaran just came in. All these deans, they are the people who really sit on our faculty board and take decisions. Also, it's a faculty board comprising of not only the 6 deans, plus we also have got some very senior members like Professor Panditratna, Professor Sarna Javira. So, with the advice of all these deans plus senior members, this faculty has been able to expedite this new model very successfully. So, your presence here is indeed a great support and encouragement for us to continue this model of the postgraduate research development work. Dr. Angul Denia, thanks very much for accepting our invitation. You are well known as a person who introduced the entrepreneurial type university system. You have been very innovative in introducing changes to the university system. Perhaps this may be a small scale application of your own model of running entrepreneurial type work at postgraduate level. Then let me also warmly welcome our Vice Chancellor. I think last week he was abroad, he just came in, and yesterday he went to Aligarh, and this morning he came here, so thanks very much for gracing the occasion. Then I also warmly welcome my colleagues, deans. Some of my colleagues are busy with lectures, they might join us later on, but Professor Jayasekaran, I welcome you warmly, also Professor Ariratna. Your presence is indeed a great strength of support. Then let me also welcome the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Professor Premkumar Silva. And as you all know, the FGS is in the business of knowledge creation through value innovation. All these activities, research sessions are essentially targeted at value innovation, knowledge creation, and human capital development. With these few remarks, let me conclude my welcome address. I wish you all a very successful sessions during the course of the day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Sunil Chandrasiri, Dean of the Faculty of Graduate Studies. And now I humbly call upon Dr. W.K. Hirimuregama, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Colombo, to address the gathering.
Good morning to all of you. Professor J.P. Mr. Vainagas, Mr. Brahmanania, Deputy Vice Chancellor, Dean of the Faculty of Graduate Studies, and other deans, registrar, and other officials. officials, and my dear students, those who are making presentations and also post-graduate students. Today, this event is a very important event for the Faculty of Graduate Studies because research is one of the most important things for your studies. Because without doing research, no point of continuing your postgraduate studies, and we have forgotten one important factor in research is development part. Research and development. Please consider development part in your research because R&D is one word. We have forgotten this development. We do research blindly. Sometimes what we do is our people go for postgraduate studies to other countries. They do research for other countries, not for this our country because we are public funded. We have to be very serious because our universities are run by money of the people of this country. So our research should be targeted for the development of this country, development of these people. Especially, development of these people is very important, human resource development. Now we concentrate on development of the physical structure, roads, hospitals, buildings, but what about the people? The main objective of the university is to develop people. Now, we are somewhat lagging behind in these development aspects. Our people, we have developed the attitudes. We are in the globalized world, but our attitudes are still far behind compared to other developed countries. Always we are comparing developed countries, benchmark with developed countries, and think how they perform their activities in their office. For example, one example I'll take, we take service. What is this service? It's not the number of hours spent in the office. And service is what we do above the salary what we get. We get a salary, a small salary, but we do something about it. It's a service. Not the work done in the office during our lifetime or during our work period. So these are the important points. And I think with the research and development now, we are in the situation of lifelong education. There's no end for the education. Until we die, we educate. And again, what we get as education, we transfer this knowledge into next generation through our genes. Remember that. Genetically, we transfer our knowledge to next generation. Intelligent parents have intelligent children. This is very important. And we have to provide particular suitable environment to activate these genes in next generation. So we have to always think about the future of this country, human resource. That's the main point I will highlight. I know you are working hard while working in the office. After that, you come in the evening and forget about your family sometimes. You have to work hard, especially female students. They have a lot of work. Office work, housework. I know they have to go and cook sometimes and look after their children. So you sacrifice your life for the development of you, not only you, for the country. So this is a message I want to tell you, and I wish all the best. I must thank Faculty of Graduate Studies because it's self-financed model for the future universities in this country. And Dr. Abdul has started something like self-finance system. Now we are also above that, and you will see there will be a 7-story building at the end of next year. For the Faculty of Graduate Studies and other faculties also. And we get only 25% from the government. 35% our generated funds. So we don't want to make any burden to the government. In the future, we will have 100% our buildings. So that's the way it is go. I wish all the best for the Faculty of Graduate Studies and presenters as well as other students. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Idimurigama, for those words. Ladies and gentlemen, the chief guest for today, Professor G.L. Peiris, is an academic who needs no introduction. He is the Minister of External Affairs of Sri Lanka and has also held several ministerial portfolios. He obtained a Bachelor of Laws degree from the University of Ceylon, as it then was, and is one of the few individuals to have obtained a first class from the University of Ceylon. He also has 2 doctorates, one from the University of Oxford and another from Sri Lanka. He has won numerous scholarships and awards, prestigious ones such as the Rhodes Scholarship, ladies and gentlemen. And he has also joined the University of Colombo as an assistant lecturer in 1968 and worked his way up the ranks to become the Vice Chancellor of the University of Colombo in 1989. Furthermore, he is widely published as a law graduate. I know with how much reverence we treat Professor Pires' books. He has published in the areas of criminal law, evidence, law of property, etc. And he has also received the Vidya Jyoti Award for research work from the President of Sri Lanka. Furthermore, ladies and gentlemen, he has been widely published abroad and has held positions in many academic and official assignment boards. Ladies and gentlemen, Professor G.L. Pires.
Vice Chancellor of the University of Colombo, Dr. W.K. Irving, Deputy Vice Chancellor, Professor Prem Kumar Silva, Dean of the Faculty of Graduate Studies, Professor Sunil Chandrasekhar, Dr. Chandra Mudeni, former Vice Chancellor of the University of Uber, Medasa, Deans of other faculties of this university, registrar, professor, colleagues, students, friends. I am very happy to be here with you this morning in very familiar surroundings where I spent 26 years of my life, very pleasant, productive years. And as I revisit this all too familiar environment, many memories that come back to me. And I see in this hall many personalities with whom I worked closely during my academic time. People like Professor Swadhanacharya was very active in the Faculty of Education at that time. Professor Leslie Kandiratna in those days was the chairman of the University Grants Commission. And I recall that my letter of resignation from the post of Vice Chancellor of this university was actually handed over to Professor Kandiratna. As I was going to the University Grants Commission, handed over the letter to him just before I went into full-time politics in 1994. So it's a great pleasure to be back here with you. And certainly I agree with the Vice Chancellor, Dr. Hugh, that this activity which we are celebrating today is of immediate importance and relevance to our country in the context of contemporary priorities. And I will briefly explain to you why I think so. If you look at the national condition of our country today, the most striking characteristic, I think, consists of the new vistas of opportunity that are opening up, particularly for our young people. Opportunities which did not exist for a very long period, for one principal reason, namely the scale of the violence which engulfed this island for as long a period as 30 years. Now that is happily behind us. Today we are in an era where there is an unprecedented investment in the development of infrastructure. Our ports and harbors, our airports, our highways, our railroad systems, the power and energy sector, all of this is witnessing an unrivaled renaissance. That is a matter in respect of which I do not think there is any division of opinion that is readily considered by everyone. Now the challenge is to refine, improve and develop our reservoir of expertise in order to enable our young people to derive the maximum benefit from these opportunities that are now opening up before them. Countries have different strengths. Sri Lanka's guiding strength is the unique caliber of her human resources. And that is a resource of which we are inordinately proud. As a teacher of 26 years standing, I am personally aware of the creativity of our students, their resilience. They are able to bring a fresh mind to bear on the material with which they deal. And it is for us, at this critical juncture in the history of our country, to make the most of that resource of which we have the full advantage. So, what is required is a matching operation. There are these opportunities available. We are reaching out to the world. We are improving the quality of our exports. Our economy is growing by more than 6% in spite of global and regional challenges. And in almost every sector, there are new avenues of employment which are becoming available to our young people. So, our primary duty in that exciting situation today in our country is to fully equip our young people so that without any hindrance or impediment, they can plunge into this new environment and extract the maximum benefit out of it. What does this entail for the university system of the country? I think there is today the need for a new partnership between policymakers in the government and the academic community. I think it is going to be a very fruitful partnership. And it is certainly the view of the government that the academic community should play a much more active and vigorous role in policy formulation. Dr. Hirenburagama spoke of service, the duties of a teacher. They involve research, they involve teaching, but I think they also involve a greater intensity and continuity of involvement in policy formulation in sectors that are of vital concern for the future of our country. I will give you an example of this. A few months ago, I had a meeting in Peradeniya with some senior academics. The meeting was attended by the Vice Chancellor of the University of Peradeniya. And we were trying to encourage the senior academics of the University of Peradeniya to work with the government in formulating a multifaceted program for the economic development of the central province. You know, the natural resources of the central province, the economic activities for which the central province is particularly suited, the contribution that can be made by the government for invigorating those beneficial economic activities. So a partnership between the academic community and the government in producing a blueprint for the development of the central province. The Vice Chancellor of the University of Peradeniya has specialized knowledge of soil, of gems, of minerals, and I found the discussion that took place on that occasion particularly stimulating. Now, that is a model that can be replicated throughout the country with all our universities. And this means that the academic community will have a greater responsibility for contributing their insights and perceptions and working with the government in formulating policies which will prove beneficial for our people in the long term. I think there is also a need for innovative thinking. To give you another example, I think an institution that can make a very valuable contribution to our country today is the University of Oceanography, which is really a brainchild of President Mahinda Rajapaksa when he was Minister of Fisheries. Sri Lanka is an island, and the blue economy today is attracting a lot of attention all over the world. The blue economy, not just fisheries, but a whole range of other activities that are particularly important at a time when tourism represents the most visible growth area of Sri Lanka's economy. A whole lot of other activities connected with the water, connected with the ocean, leisure activities, boats, yachts, boat building. We have some very valuable contracts with the Seychelles, for example, to sell our vessels. So the ocean is a rich reservoir of resources. And in developing this, in bringing modern technology to bear on that whole exercise, an institution like the University of Oceanography, I think, has a very critical role to play. New ideas, innovation, you have the knowledge creation through value innovation, which is the ideal that you're aiming at. I think it is very relevant to many areas of our economy, and the ocean, the blue economy, is one such example. I also think that our university should be encouraged to develop expertise, both at graduate and postgraduate level, in a manner that reflects the priorities of the geographical region in which that university is located. When I was Vice Chancellor of this university from 1989 to 1994, it seemed to me that, I asked myself, what is the principal strength of the University of Colombo? I think the principal strength is its geographical location. So, rather than confine ourselves solely and exclusively, I'm not saying it's not important, very important, but rather than confining ourselves solely and exclusively to the education of full-time undergraduate students between the ages of 18 and 23 or whatever, I tried to use the university to provide courses of instruction. For example, in the Faculty of Law, we started a master's program in which I, as Vice Chancellor, taught on Friday evenings and Saturday mornings. And we found judges from all over the country, including judges of the Supreme Court. Judges of the Supreme Court came here. The late Justice Ramanathan, the late Justice Isadas Mandana. They came here as students to follow this LLM course. We offered it in the law of evidence and in comparative administrative law. Now, we also started courses in journalism, for example, in media, in international relations. And the location of the university made it possible for the faculty to consist not only of full-time teachers drawn from the university, but people from the business sector, for example. The first Sri Lankan chairman of legal workers, the late Stanley worked with us not only in formulating courses in business management, but he actually came here to taught some of those courses. So this meant that a very valuable practical orientation was introduced into the courses that we were offering in those disciplines. So this was possible because of the location of the University of Colombo in the chief metropolis, in the capital city of the country. Now Dr. Chandra has done the same when he was Vice Chancellor of Uva University. I went there with His Excellency the President, and I saw for myself the value of the work that he was doing. Now, in his case, to my mind, the principal characteristic of his approach, which I think is very relevant to our contemporary situation, is that the courses that he offered in the University of Uva were demand-driven. Rather than producing graduates and wondering what you're going to do with them, there was an assessment and evaluation of the needs of the marketplace. What are the skills for which there is a demand? And the courses offered by the University of Uva under the stewardship of Dr. Chandra was so designed as to cater for the opportunities that were available in the marketplace. The result was that nobody graduating was unemployed. In fact, many of them had found jobs even before they graduated. Consequently, there was no discontent in the university environment. Everyone was happy, everyone was fulfilled, and everyone was looking forward to completing their degrees because they knew that a successful future awaited them. So he was starting courses, as I recall, in areas like insurance, or you may take it straight, like in a university in Calcutta, there should be courses in insurance, but they were very popular courses. Recently, I visited the University of Samarkand, and I saw, I was delighted by the European innovation, the innovative attitudes that I came across there. For example, there is a degree in surveying. Now, that's a practical need in our country. There's so much focus on urban development, on land use. In that context, surveying is a course that has been designed and is being offered in the University of Samarkand. There is a course in sports, a full degree in sports. And the students in that course are already assured of employment. And in Sri Lanka, there are many things which are putting us on the map. The eradication of terrorism is one thing. Countries all over the world are interested in how we were able to manage this with limited resources. Equally, our sportsmen have done us proud. So sports is an area which is deserving of in-depth study and analysis. And the University of Samarkand is doing. I was there as the chief guest at the convocation of the University of Samarkand, and I saw this for myself. So these are some of the things that should stimulate us and embolden us to confront the challenges of the future. Now, what you are doing here, the annual graduate sessions, I think is a landmark achievement. Dr. Hidipuragama, the Vice Chancellor, told me, and Professor Sunil Chandrasiri, your dean, that you have 200 PhD students here, 250 master's students. And these are students who are working on disciplines which cut across the whole spectrum. And also what Dr. Hidipuragama just referred to, that these are self-financing programs. So these are all, I think, very desirable elements of the work that you are doing in the national interest. Now, I want to conclude with one thought, and that thought is this. So now if we ask ourselves, what other things can the academic community usefully do at this time? Don't underestimate yourselves. Our culture is such that our teachers are looked up to with great respect and esteem. That is an inherent part of our culture. We respect our teachers. So the community looks up to the academic community for leadership. And we must respond to that challenge. There are many things that the academic community can do. I told you about one thing. That is to work in a spirit of partnership with the government with regard to policy formulation and evaluation. I think that is a very legitimate role for the business community. Apart from that, this is my thought on the subject. I think with regard to national branding, the academic community is an indispensable role. What is nation branding? In the world at large, nations are associated with particular qualities or achievements or particular strengths. When a country is mentioned in the public mind, immediately you associate that country with particular activities or achievements. Mention a country, there are things that immediately spring to mind. Now, what is a pity is that all the remarkable achievements of our country are not sufficiently noticed. Now take our achievements with regard to social equity. When we were trying to select a theme for the upcoming meeting of Commonwealth Heads of Government next month in our country, a lot of thought was given to a theme. President Nagaraj Praksa was very keen that the theme should be something that is meaningful for people up and down the country. Not just theoretical or conceptual topics, but something that will stir their imagination, something that will appear to the public of Sri Lanka as a matter which is directly relevant to their everyday life. This is something that His Excellency President Maharaj Rajapaksa insisted on from the very beginning. Now this is why we came up with the theme, economic development with social equity. Economic development with social equity. Because we believe that economic development, although very important, is a necessary condition, it is not a sufficient condition. There are things that we must do to ensure that the fruits of economic development are equitably enjoyed by people all over the country, not by a minuscule segment of the community. Must percolate the rural hinterland and affect the lives of ordinary people. Now, as an academic, I mean, for once an academic, always an academic, but as an academic, I'm very proud of the fact that our public examination results show that in the recent past, the top places in keenly contested, public examinations where there's very acute, very keen competition. Some of the highest places go to students coming from schools outside Colombo, Kandy and Goa. See, that's because the ability is there. It is only that the facilities were there. But today, computer facilities, sports facilities, swimming pools, laboratories, good teachers, a stimulating academic environment, if you make it available, then the child responds. Recently, I read in the media that the 10 top places in a public examination have all gone to students who did not come from the privileged schools in and around Colombo. Okay. Now, that is a very notable social achievement. It is a social renaissance of which we must be proud. So, our achievements with regard to young people, with regard to gender equality, with regard to infant mortality, with regard to maternal health. Now, Sri Lanka has not only achieved the Millennium Development Goals targets, but we have exceeded those targets. Then look at our achievements in the field of the green economy, our emphasis on renewable sources of energy, wind power in particular. So our country has achieved all that. But when it comes to branding the nation branding, these achievements are not sufficiently taken into account. So, that's basically a marketing exercise. How we project this to the world at large. Now, these are areas in which I think the academic community has a very vital role. So, what I want to emphasize to you on this occasion is the overall relevance of the academic community outside the classroom. Outside the classroom, outside the library, those are absolutely essential. That is the core of the work and the responsibility of an academic. There's no question about that. But over and beyond that, transcending that, there are other obligations which are really crucial in the national interest in order to face effectively the challenges confronting the country at this stage. Now that we have left terrorism behind us and we can contemplate the future with optimism and confidence. So this is the message I want to convey to you, and I would like sincerely to thank the Vice Chancellor, the Dean of the School of Graduate Studies, and all of you for inviting me to be here with you on this occasion to share these thoughts. The achievements of universities is a matter of the deepest satisfaction to me. I recognize your achievement, I wish you well, and I assure you that the government will stand with you in the challenges you face to make your work as pleasant and as productive as possible. That is a partnership that you can rely on. I thank you.
Thank you, Professor Pires, for those enriching words. Ladies and gentlemen, the guest of honor for today, Dr. Chandra Munderia, is a pioneer in his industry. He is the founder Vice Chancellor of the Uva Vellas University and has extensive experience in all aspects of higher education, including setting up a university. He has established the first entrepreneurial university in Sri Lanka in Badulla which has become a center of excellence for value addition to the national resource base. He is currently the consultant to Central Lancashire, UK, to establish the largest British university outside of UK. He has held several leadership positions as Chief Executive Officer, for example, of the National Chamber of Commerce, and also the BIMSTEC for 7 South Asian and Southeast Asian countries. He was a member of the Education Cluster of the Ministry of Education and was involved in policy reform and development. He has served in several boards, commissions, councils, and many committees, including the Tertiary and Vocational Education Commission. Ladies and gentlemen, the guest of honor today, Dr. Chandra Ebundenian, will now address the gathering.
We have a small technical issue, just give me a second. Thank you. That was fast, I must say, particularly that's very good. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Honorable Professor G.R. Perez, past Vice Chancellor of Colombo University and also the Honorable Minister of External Affairs, who is a great friend of the commercial business community, and I respect him for his knowledge about the industry and really supported us during the time when we were trying to do something in this country when the country was at a lowest ebb, for 10 years. Now, our Vice Chancellor, thank you very much for inviting me, and our Dean, Professor Chandra, thank you very much for your compliments. And also, it's a great honor to have been invited consecutively for 2 sessions at the now one university in the country, the Colombo University. I was here on the 3rd of this month at the general sessions of the Symposium, and I spoke about competitiveness in knowledge economy and how universities can be of help. Professor DLP gave a beautiful overview of the whole thing, I think, in a nutshell. And today, my topic has been, can I invite the panelists to sit on this side so that you can see what's on the board? My topic today is about entrepreneurial orientation of higher education in Sri Lanka. I will give an overview of the situation in Sri Lanka's universities, the very brief salient points. But we need to change the strategic choice that we have in hand, learning the proposition that I would make, and also the internal processes, learning and growth aspects, and also the fiduciary responsibility, the responsibility of the universities to the government, the funding agency, and the society at large. And the overall strategic map, what am I proposing? And also the highlights of education trends in the world today, that we can take note and take confidence in what we are saying. Now, what you see here is the roadmap I presented at my last presentation at the Colombo University. I mentioned about developing a strategic management system, this for the knowledge economy and how to be competitive. Building up consensus within and linking to individual performances. Then focusing on the next 10 years and review each year as it comes. Then identifying performance drivers for intangibles such as organization culture, team, leadership, information capital, human capital, relationships and image. Because these are the huge intangibles that we need to manage. We are not managing how to paint a building or managing fixed assets, but we are really managing a huge amount of intangibles in a knowledge economy. How to break down the silos that you have in Colombo University. If the DLT is complimented you for your achievement, I do compliment you because you have 100-year history and I think you have done a great service to the country. But still, the Colombo University and all the universities, I think, to my knowledge, except where last said, work within silos and break down silos, create interdisciplinary programs, facilitate through physical infrastructure. How do you facilitate through infrastructure facilities the interdisciplinarity of your program? Develop skills through the curriculum. Develop research portfolios with emerging technologies and consider IPR always before publishing. I went through the publication that we have here for your with your abstracts. I think if there is anything that is worthwhile, licensing as IPR, you should go to the DR with your market first before you come here and present it. Take major initiatives to link private sector, even if those are not local businesses. I mean, this is the brief overview of what I presented last time. If I take a broad overview of a university today, there are four main aspects. Primarily, what we do mostly, teaching skills and mentoring. Then research, innovations, Professor Hildebrand referred to the R&D and development not being taken into account seriously. Research, innovations. Social responsibility, to some extent, how to help in the inclusive development. Now there is a fourth aspect that comes into the university, in the world universities and also largely that we are responsible for is enterprise. I will come to that. What is enterprise? This is a sample of activities in an academic enterprise. Research and development consultancy, tailored learning and skills, short courses, events, seminars, then knowledge-based activity, knowledge transfer partnerships, equipment and facilities, workplace learning and skills development, technology transfer and licensing, enterprise development and business creation, projects, social enterprise, SMEs, green generation, research evaluation and market intelligence, networks and clouds, and also there is a huge responsibility to raise the profile of the university system and the university image building process. Now, I'm not going into the details of this, but these are to mark the activities under the academic enterprise which should relate to you immediately when I'm talking about this. Now, the strategic statement, if I put it like this to you, that the Sri Lankan university is to become a powerhouse for producing exceedingly competent graduates for value addition. That's your knowledge creation through value innovation. I would say that the university system should become a powerhouse for producing exceedingly competent graduates. And where is this value going to be added? In the economy. In the economy. And what is the engine of growth for the economy is the private sector. So, The corporate sector will absorb your people without any effort. Now, that's only a suggestion for building up my arguments in this presentation. Now, situation today in universities. We have to face the truth. It's heavily weighted on the left-hand side. Why? Because of disruptive conduct and also the ragging that goes with it. Politicized unions, unemployed graduates, management issues, vice chancellor and academics not getting on too well, administrative and non-academic inefficiency, and this is all contributing to the tension and stress. Once I mentioned this at a forum, and several vice chancellors fell out with me for speaking the truth. If you want, well, be it so. Then, on the right-hand side, we have a bigger responsibility, as I said, which I showed you in the Venn diagram earlier: research, innovation, and curriculum pedagogy, and enterprise and social responsibility and all that. But they are taking a back seat very much because of this tensed-up situation within the university. So, only to make that point. Now, what is the situation in the scientific affairs? Similar, because I work very closely with the National Science Foundation, helping them in innovation and also in funding technologies in the country. Now, techno-entrepreneurship. I must say, the applications I receive, the propositions I get to see are at a very low level. And also, knowledge creation and value addition in Sri Lanka is very, very poor. The universities are working in isolation without understanding market needs. Then companies work in isolation. They don't come to the universities, most of the companies. Right? They have no R&D within the company. They are very happy selling what they are selling or importing and selling what they are selling. Then research institutes work in isolation. Projects without understanding futuristic market needs. Professor Giapiris mentioned about this. Understand the market needs very, very absolutely important. Then all these things are adding to the cost of living in the country because our scientists, our technologists are not working, trying to help bring down the prices in the market. We want the price control authority to control prices and distort the entire market economy in the country that we are working on. So, you will understand what I am trying to make. Now, how did we get here? We got here because I would put a lot of the blame, not on the politicians, but you, for not producing the right people to take the policy decisions. Professor Giapiris said that you should be involved in policy making. Do you have a chance? No. I must have sat in so many policy decision making committees over the last 20 years. As a president of a chamber, as a CEO, as so many other institutions in the government, I must have helped in the environmental sector, sustainability sector, and the industrial sector, the commerce sector. We have taken so many policy decisions. Let me tell you one thing. We prepared with Dr. Professor Sunil Chandrasekhar a paper, white paper called the SME White Paper. And that was about 10 years ago. It went through 3 ministers before it was presented to Professor Giapiris. And Professor Giapiris at least took action to implement that. At least, but it has disappeared. All the action has disappeared now. But we took some action. He was good enough, that's why I respect him. Now, I would say it is indifference of the academics. Students being used for revolutionary politics. Indifference of lecturers. Failing administration, including finance. Indifference of the private sector. Universities becoming islands without law and order. Absence of competition and hierarchy. Now these are, I think, chronic problems that we have had in the music system, which is now being addressed by the efforts of the Minister of Higher Education, and he is getting a lot of flack for that, but he is making a huge effort to try and overcome these things, and under the President's guidance. Now, market orientation. This is about the stakeholders. Students, employers, parents, employees, society and government. These are my stakeholders. We create value for them and also matching our graduates with the expectations of these stakeholders. Now, I have borrowed this picture from a website. I'm sorry about the source not being mentioned. It's about the 5 hubs we have, and the government is focusing on the teacher, all its resources to be distributed on these 5 projects mostly. The naval hub, the commercial hub, knowledge hub, the aviation hub, and the energy hub. I would say that you have the greatest opportunity that was ever given to the academia in this country by having a knowledge hub. Because you will drive the knowledge hub. You become the owners of the knowledge hub. Nobody else is there. So, and make Colombo University and Colombo the capital of the knowledge hub. And the society is demanding reforms. We need to cater to these hubs. We need to cater to the economic that is asking for fast development. So, we need to do something to change. And how do we? We can't. Because we still live in this primitive industrial age, which is about 100 years old. I mentioned this at the last symposium as well, working in functional silos, arm's length transactions with customers, low-cost standardized products and services, protected domestic markets, perceived long product life cycles, white-collar manager and blue-collar workers, and also traditional financing and accounting. Now, these are some, but not all. So we have a philosophical issue that is facing us in a university which is very scholarly, very academic, and how do we bring the concept of enterprise into the university? So, you have a responsibility to use your knowledge imaginatively and also within scholarly approaches. Don't step outside the scholarly approaches. And also imparting the skills needed to the students. Right? How to design the entrepreneurial model and the implications of wider education. I met Professor Alan Gibb, who is an authority on entrepreneurial education in the world, about 5 or 6 years ago, and I admire his knowledge. He has made this point at a workshop, and I made it a point to note it down. Link of university strategy to future student life world. Students are life world. Stronger personal development contract with students. How much do we mentoring and relate to the students? Many cross-disciplinary teaching research centers. Do we have cross-disciplinary teaching research centers? A demand, a need for the universities. Substantive focus on societal problems and futures. University status by innovation and stakeholder partnerships. Departmental evaluation through wider stakeholder eyes. University has wider quotas learning organizations. Professors of practice, adjunct visiting. How many industry people are professors here? I just put a question to voice. Personal rewards for R&D and stakeholder reputation. University earns autonomy by this, okay? Now, I don't have the time to go through all this in detail, but it's very important for you to ponder, think about these things, okay? Just a thought on entrepreneurship island. There are hundreds of different definitions. I have one myself correctly for the Boilas University, but for this one, attend to purpose, mindsets, values, ways of doing things, and associated behaviors, skills, and attributes in different knowledge contexts applied individually and collectively to equip individuals and organizations of all kinds to cope with, enjoy, and indeed create through innovation high levels of uncertainty and complexity as a means of personal fulfillment is joined to the capacity to create, develop, redesign, and work effectively in organizations to take advantage of new opportunities in a globalized world. Professor D.M. mentioned about this, taking opportunities through problems. You see, we are there to solve those problems, and those are always economic opportunities. So, the knowledge economy processes are cross-functional business processes. We have to bring up students to level with that expectation. Cross relationships for creating greater value to customers. Integrated raw material supply mechanism. Production and delivery based on customer orders. Customized services and products even for small orders without loading additional costs. The catering to global customers with equal sensitivity as for the domestic customer. And knowledge workers. You are a knowledge worker. New strategic management tools. These are some of the things that could come within the purview of the knowledge economic process. Now this picture is a very important one. I constructed out of so many different information that we have on the horizontal axis moving from simple to complex, and also on the vertical axis moving from certainty to uncertainty. And in the four quadrants you'll find at the very bottom left hand side, number 1 marked the basic raw material based economy that we have, the primary level economy, and that is agriculture, industry, and some amount of service. And we have now migrated from that number 1 position to the number 2 position, which is an efficiency and productivity driven economy, which was given in the World Economic Forum report of the competitiveness of world economics. And we have moved from the basic level to the efficiency level, and not moved completely, but we are migrating in the transition. And now from there we need to move to the higher level where innovations carry the weight and where there is money, innovation. Now, that is in the third quadrant, you find the top left hand. Then in the fourth quadrant is the relationship with the knowledge economy, where scientists, professionals like you have the biggest role to play. It's not a policy-making thing, sir. It is an active role that you need to do. How do you participate in the act of knowledge economy? Please remember, you are only observers, watching it and writing papers, but you need to drive, take the wheel and the pedal into your hand. Okay? Drive it. Then you'll find that we are now in a very secure area from a tangible set of asset management, I would say, activities in a very secure area where efficiency and productivity. And this happened with the apparel industry coming in and also the services coming into the system. But then ICT sector worked without any support from us, where it started about 20, 30 years ago, and now they are in a very, very strong position in the innovation area. We don't even know what they're innovating. They're all globalized. At least about 10 companies in this country have globalized operations and bringing in high value relatively to the country, and they can grow much bigger. And also I'm very happy that the government is taking this as policies have not intervened in the development of that industry. Then the knowledge economy. Now what we want to do as the people who can really own this knowledge economy in the country need to think about it. But remember, to become owners of knowledge economy, you must learn how to manage your intangible, which was the lecture I gave at the last symposium. So you can move up the value chain. Now, we need wide participation in change. Entrepreneurship applies to a wide range of countries. Right. Enterprise programs across the university, not just in the postgraduate faculty or either science, and then owned by the university. And it should be not in a department, it should be right across the university. Everyone must become part of it, right? Wide range of pedagogy, designed to stimulate the way of life and ways of doing. Way of life, ways of doing. Then entrepreneurial university design, architecture. A lot of universities have broken down their silos, physical silos of buildings, and then made it very open and faster, easier to transfer knowledge. I know that knowledge can transfer on the digital also, but physical involvement of people, how do they participate in groups, right? High leverage of private sector funding. I don't think we can talk about that in Sri Lanka very much, but we need to have, because the government gave 300% tax benefit to the companies to invest in R&D about 2 years ago. Yet, I am yet to see any company making a real benefit out of that whole thing. You know, that's happening. I don't know, because there's something not working out here. So, high leverage of private sector funding, close links to community of practice, engagement with and status to entrepreneurs. Recognition is always being given, but yeah. Open doors to IP and IP registrations, strong support for utility and commercialization of knowledge, stronger job orientation and equity venture engagement. And these are things that we can explore. Now, is a beautiful presentation of Professor Alan Gibb. He did these two pictures. On the left hand side you get Frankenstein, and on the right hand side you and me, you or me. The first is the second is a runner who is very, moving very fast. But it shows the difference between a business school and an entrepreneurial university. You need to understand, because business schools are not always entrepreneurial. They are only for the label. You know, Harvard, you know, just trying to change their approach to become entrepreneurial because they want to catch up with MIT. I'll come to that point later. Now, in this one, instructional explicit knowledge ingestion at the mouth on the left hand side. When I say left, it is business school. On the right, it is the entrepreneurial university. You find capacity for experiential ingestion, tacit knowledge. And in the here you find a sprinkling of behavior support, and you find rich growth of entrepreneurial attributes, right, on the right hand side. Rational, reductive, objective, corporate information processing brain, and on the entrepreneurial side, emotional intelligence. And you find in the eyes, business mafia focus, and on the right you find vision and feel for the way of life. And like that, you know, there are several very important things, and in the heart you find a heroic heart in business school, and on the right hand side you get entrepreneurship values at the heart. Right? And then you find on the feet you find corporate venturing leg on the left hand leg of the left side, and entrepreneurial management in different contexts on the right hand side. Right leg, I'm sorry, right. Then small independent business leg on the left side, and entrepreneurial organization design and development. Then you find add-ons at the field versus ideas harvesting and evaluation, projects versus project management. And this is a beautiful creation of Professor Alan Gibb, which I really like to memorize if possible. So, on the left hand side, the business school is moving towards the market model, On the right-hand side, it's moving towards globalized world of uncertainty and managing complexity. That is the real world today. We also talk about employability, and employability is made out of students getting self-esteem, self-efficacy, self-confidence. Think for yourself whether the students are getting that self-esteem, whether they're getting self-efficacy, self-confidence. When they go for an interview, they are asked, did you belong to a union where they made a university close down? They'll ask. So is it going to build up your esteem? Yes, we did close the university now. Now, reflection and evaluation. That's a process that we have to create to evaluate our competence. So about the career development, learning, experience, degree, subject knowledge, understanding, gender skills, emotional intelligence. These are at the foundation learning and growth. Now, I did something Professor G.L.P. said useful at the Ovelas University. In a nutshell, I want to present the study that I had there. I had a value proposition to those stakeholders. And first in the value proposition was knowledge and skills mentoring. The second is about a relationship building, experience. Then the image of the university. I managed it myself while I was there. Now, knowledge and skills were made up of breadth of knowledge, relevance, good learning, GPA, research, innovations, skills. I had 5 essential skills: communicator, problem solver, entrepreneurial skills, and every student had to be trilingual there. Technical, IT, initiative, independence, experience, placements, projects, talents, time management, and all that. Right now, relationship skill was built up on partnerships, external customers, communications, language skills, mentoring, leadership, interpersonal and team play, adaptability, results, and goodwill. Image was the UW2 brand. Professor G.L.P. mentioned about the country, Sri Lanka brand. It's a very good point that he has given you to think. How do we brand ourselves? Well, yesterday's report, if you read in the Daily Mirror, Sri Lanka brand is totally hacked by some journalists. Okay? So, UW brand, university together with students, ethics and reputation. Ethics and reputation. Now, this is the value I give my students to take it to their employers, and that's why they are successful in getting a job before they pass out. Now, the value proposition doesn't arise just like that. You've got to deliver it through several innovative processes, because the traditional process in the university does not support the creation of these values, because we are all very silo-based thinkers, right? So, the academic process I had to restructure, but let me tell you, it was not easy, because I had to work within the universities. Act itself we need to really change the university. Now, R&D process, that is administration process. In addition to that, I also now talk about a legal process where the scientific community is concerned. These processes are designed to create the value proposition that we have delivered. Now, how does the academic process differ from the rest? I mean, it's a multidisciplinary program. Course directors are heading, and they are the drivers, the owners are the committees. The follow University Act, learning outcomes, continuous assessment process, 8% attendance is essential. You don't attend, if you go for your CMA classes or marketing classes, you are finished. You don't get to sit in the exam. It is, if you can cope with the pressures of attending the class work, because your work is done continuously. In the classroom, you are given tests. And we give 60% of the way to the continuous assessment process. So, it's like that, and I've just been told that my time is limited, so let me come to the point very clearly. I leave this presentation for you to collect the thoughts. And this is a very important one. The fiduciary responsibility which you are all working on. Actually the value comes from, to the government by being productivity and growth, and those are the two main things, and how do we really deal with that? So, and that's the overall strategy which you can really see, right? And there's a learning and growth aspect, the internal process aspect, the customer value, and the long-term fiduciary responsibility, and which is going to deliver my mission and mission. So, if I really go to tell you today, the roadmap is no different what I presented to you at the last symposium. It's available, and therefore it is there. And also, in terms of research on national goals for economic value addition, I chose a few areas like reducing national energy bill by 40%. I told my lecturers, I had only a handful of people. I gave one to the Slimtech to start the Slimtech operation. And he was one of the best people in nanotechnology in the country, out of 3 people in the country. So, but I told them, listen, I want you to propose to me how to reduce 40% of the energy bill in the country, and they started working on various things. Now, value addition to tea and agricultural resources. We have at Govella's the only degree program for value addition for tea, and it's called Tea Technology and Value Addition, and it can be marketed anywhere in the world where they are producing tea and where they are doing tea-related, processing or consumer markets, but higher value. How do you bring higher value? Not just brew and drink. Right? Then value addition to animal and aquatic products, transforming world's best mineral resources. These are areas where any university can work and the knowledge is there. Now, it also depends on the leadership, and no organization can rise above the leader. And higher education trends in the world are very clear today. Stanford, Arizona State, I picked up King Abdullah University, which has a $10 billion endowment. Olin College in Massachusetts, the engineering, Dublin University. These are all universities I picked up among the world leading universities where they are trying to break down architecturally as well as internally through interdisciplinary programs, interdisciplinary programs, and also Harvard trying to catch up with MIT now because they are behind. They have fallen down to second place in the world rankings. So, what are the difference? The MIT had this, since 1990, they have been doing this thing what we are talking about here. Now, what the Harvard started doing. So, and I just want to make this point to you. MIT's entrepreneurial graduates have created values. In a 2009 study, they found $2 trillion. And in fact, the MIT graduates form like the 11th largest economy in the world. Just imagine the wealth that you can create if you really give thought to it. If you really give thought to it. So, universities also have many silos. Start thinking about how to integrate these silos, okay, and operate. So, my presentation I conclude with the same roadmap as I presented last time, and if you start working on that, you will end up getting something very useful to act on, not to sit on. So, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chandra Vinodania, for that informative presentation. I think the Faculty of Graduate Studies will make the presentation available for today's audience to collect after the event. Ladies and gentlemen, now Dr. W.K. Hirimuregama, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Colombo, will present tokens to the chief guest for today, Professor G.L. Peavis, and the guest of honor, Dr. Chandra Vinodania, in appreciation of their their contribution to today's inauguration of the annual research symposium. Thank you very much, sir. And now to conclude the inauguration, I cordially invite Professor Prema Kumara De Silva, the Deputy Vice Chancellor of the University of Colombo, to propose the vote of thanks.
It is my privilege to propose vote of thanks for the annual research sessions of the Faculty of Graduate Studies, University of Colombo, commencing today. At the outset, I would like to express my profound gratitude to Professor G.L. Peiris, Honorable Minister of External Affairs, also former Vice Chancellor of the University, for sparing his valuable time to address the gathering and for highlighting some of the issues that we need to actually deliberate on during the conference. Honorable Minister has highlighted the need for involving academics in the policy formulations, innovations, and develop expertise in the country. Thank you very much for your thought-provoking speech, sir, being with us today as well. Thank you. I would like to express my gratitude to guest of honor, Mr. Chandra Anmudenian, founder, Govelas University, for sharing his thought on entrepreneurial orientations for higher education in Sri Lanka. We are also extremely grateful to our Vice Chancellor for his constant and meticulous guidance and inspiring us to organize this event successfully. We convey our sincere thanks to the council member and all the deans for their gracious presence today. We convey our sincere thanks to the session chairman, Professor Indela De Silva, for his effort to make this research session a success. I thank all distinguished invitees, university academics, and non-academic staff for their kind presence today. On behalf of the Faculty of Graduate Studies, we would like to place on record the excellent contribution made by the members of the review panel and editorial board of abstract publication. Our special thanks also go to the Registrar Berza, Deputy Registrar Mr. Bandaga, Senior Assistant Berza, and all the administrative staff of the FBS for helping us organize the annual research session this year. This event would not have been possible without paper presenters, and we must thank them for their input during the conference, and we will be immensely benefited by listening and engaging with their research work today. I also take this opportunity to thank all the postgraduate students for their participation in this very important event. I would be failing in my duty if I do not convey my sincere gratitude to Professor Tony Chancery, the Dean Faculty of Graduate Studies. Without his guidance and full support, this annual research session would not have been possible. Professor Chancery, thank you for giving us strong leadership to the FGS. Thank you all once again, and we look forward to an extremely productive discussions today. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the inauguration. There will be refreshments served for the guests, the academics, and all the presenters at the rooftop. And the rest of the students may have their tea and refreshments at the landing, and you should proceed from the door at the rear of the hall. Thank you very much.
Because the post during the time there was some interesting discussions, and I could was very keen in these sessions and he asked some questions, so that reason I apologize for that. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is my very pleasant task, it is an Indian introduction, just to follow the formality, to introduce one of my best colleagues, closest friends, Professor Indra Silva. He is the Senior Professor, Chair Professor, Department of Demography, Faculty of Arts, University of Colombo. Indra is right now, he is on sabbatical, but still working as a senior research fellow in CAS, which is also a research arm of the UGC and the Ministry of Higher Education, which promotes research activities. Indra, many of you have visited his lectures. He is a champion in research methodology area. His work is widely published, mostly in international journals, and he also one of the superhuman qualities that I noticed in Indra is that when it comes to research work, especially FDS work, he has been extremely nice to us. Indra, thanks very much for your kind support, and we look forward to your continued support over the next few years. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Studies for the presentation. I welcome all of you to the research presentation session. I would like to invite all the presenters also over here. Since I think we have about 7 presenters, I would like to invite all the 7 presenters over here. That will be easy for us. And since we are a bit late, about 15 minutes, I would request that even though we have allocated about 15 minutes each presenter, it is better if you can take about 12 minutes maximum each presenter, and that will allow us to go for a little bit of discussion at the latter stage. We will have the discussion at the very end. Therefore, I would like to invite the very first presenter, Ms. Dinesha Sirivardhana. She is the MPhil PhD candidate. Well, I would like to invite Mahinda Abdusingha for his presentation, and he will be discussing about the role of military leadership in sustainable peace building process and assessment of post-war, post-civil war context in Sri Lanka. And you can take about 12 to 15 minutes.
Good morning to all of you. Professor Indra Silva and all teachers, professors and the deans of faculties and all other distinguished guests who are gathered here, all other members of the academic community, and fellow students. Next 12 or 15 minutes or so, I will dwell upon, I will acquaint yourselves in the role of military leadership in sustainable peace building process and assessment of post-war civil conflicts in Sri Lanka. This will be my planned presentation. All of us know for last 30 years we waged a war, and since then, from 2009 May, we are now coming to the era of post-war, and it is nothing but development and building bridges between two communities to have a sustainable peace for our development or any other activity to happen in Sri Lanka. We need sustainable peace. So I'll be dwelling upon the role of armed forces, the roles of military leadership, what could be done to augment the effort of the government in giving that the support and the role which armed forces could play. So we all know war ended in 2009 May, but then all the war ended, the ideology behind the war and also the long-drawn misunderstandings and all suspicions we had towards between our two communities prevailed. And also we have a very prosperous diaspora, so we have serious problems. So therefore we need to understand what could be done and what army could do in solving and attaining sustainable peace. So basically army is involved in 5 R's, that is rehabilitation, reconstruction, resettlement, reintegration and reconciliation. At this moment we are really at the reconciliation process. So we have a large amount of combatants in the society, large amount of combatants who are not being rehabilitated, but yet we know they are in the society. And in this context, we have to understand there's a problem as to how army could play their roles in post-war scenario to attain sustainable peace. In this regard, the research objective rather, is to investigate the main issues that readers should address to achieve sustainable peace. I'll be talking about peace in 3 categories, that is peace keeping, peace making and peace building. So in 3 dimensions, how the issues, what are the issues emanating of this society, and also examine the roles the army, military officers can perform, and to discover what type of assistance people can offer us in achieving that task. It's going into the conceptual model. Sustainable peace is our concept. 3 dimensions, that is peacekeeping, peacemaking and peace building are 3 dimensions. And under 3 dimensions I have identified key issues, so these are the indicators. So in these slides I have developed my conceptual framework, and my thesis will be covering among the many these proponents of theories rather, Professor John Paul Edwards, his theory is reconciliation theory, and also Professor Ryan Dalton regarding negative peace and positive peace. Research methods is basically a combination of inductive and deductive nature, and its approach is positivist paradigm approach, and data collection is through civilians and military officers. A sample of 660 civilians were taken across north and east, 8 districts, and 40 10-member in-depth interviews were carried out, and 15 in-depth interviews, focus group discussions 40, and in-depth interviews 15, and it was done about, it took about 9 months to finish the part of the survey, and I have been very careful of maintaining the homogeneity and the uniqueness of each focus group to stimulate smooth discussion. And a schedule was developed to collect data related to major areas of peacekeeping, peacemaking and peace building from the civilian point of view, and also focus group interviews and in-depth interviews. Then schedule was, which was developed in English, translated into Tamil, then back into English, then again into Tamil, just to understand that whether the message, the questions which I am about to ask from the civilians or the other people, military officers, have been properly translated. The responses so collected were scrutinized, and commonly cited answers were then made into a detailed questionnaire for military officers. There were 60 military officers subject to this questionnaire. So with this survey, these are the findings. Of course, there are some other findings as well, but I am focusing myself because due to paucity of time, I will be only discussing about the roles in peacekeeping, peacemaking and peace building processes. So you see protection of people, these are the roles people expect, and also army officers and military officers perceive that the roles which can be performed during peacekeeping. If I put more light into this, what is this difference between peacekeeping, peacemaking and peace building? Peace building part is basically and primarily on sustainable peace area, where immediately after the conflict we were just keeping peace to ensure that the recurrence of LTT activity would not take place, and also to ensure that people will get confidence that no, LTT is no longer a prevalent force. Military and the government is in control and command, so we need to do some protection, the activity of peacekeeping. So these are the number of activities we have highlighted. It indicates in the slide. We have to understand 30 years of war has destroyed all the government systems. We had some skeleton rather structures, but the entire system has failed and not very functioning very well the way it should run, like in the other districts. So therefore, army can play a major role in these areas. So in the case of peacekeeping, where we have graduated from peacekeeping to peacemaking area, that is where we have, now we are developing relationships, rapport with North-South movement, all those things. So then what are the roles army has to play, the armed forces have to play. Then in peace building area, we are graduating into a major level where it's a very serious dynamic process, and also this is the area we perceive and we want the relationship which were prevailing originally to have established in the same form. Although it will be a difficult task, but similar situations is what the aspiration in the period, in the form of peace building. So in that context, what are the roles the armed forces will have to play? Due to paucity of time, I have to anyway bring this entire whole story into 12 slides. Otherwise, I was prepared with 36 slides. So anyway, basically in conclusion, the study was about examining the issues related to peacekeeping, peacemaking and peace building in sustainable journey of sustainable peace in Sri Lanka, and it discussed the roles of military leaders in peacekeeping, peacemaking and peace building. And data was collected through surveys, focus group interviews and in-depth interviews. Findings were organized in terms of objective of the study. And also, the findings will definitely help the policymakers of our country, because I'll be doing in my research, I'll be doing a comparative Indonesia and Croatia. These two countries' situation also will be taken into account in comparable analysis. So therefore, this knowledge, what I have tried to harness, how best this could be augmented the development of this country. So that is the final aim, and that will be the societal contribution from my thesis. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dr. Singh actually is a Major General of the Sri Lankan Army. Thank you very much for taking exactly about 12 minutes. Our next presenter is Mr. Nitlabaran. He is from the actually our PhD in FIT program, PhD program, and there are other two co-authors also, Sinathambi and also Mr. Nuardhan, I think. We'll be making presentation on student teachers' perceptions about education for sustainable development, ESD in secondary science education. Well, if you can take about 12 minutes, that will be, you can set some time for it.
Honorable Session Leader Professor Nuladi Silva, co-panel presenters, honorable academic experts of our country, researchers, audience, good morning all of you. I am going to present our study on the topic student teachers perception about education for sustainable development in secondary science education. Before I am going to present the study, I would like to say a few aspects regarding the sustainable development and education for sustainable development. Sustainable development is a unique concept using all over the world. Education for sustainable development is a teaching learning approach under the principle of sustainability. Each and every societal group and countries can choose their own pace of education for sustainable development. Now I am going to my study. Nowadays, Sri Lanka faces a lot of sustainability issues such as poverty, climate change, land degradation, pollution of water resources, etc. To provide proper education and training to the educational community and general public is one of the most effective strategies to solve these problems. ESD enriched primary and secondary education is the foundation for these initiatives. Out of the secondary curriculum, science is the most relevant subject to impart ESD knowledge, attitudes, skills and values to the students. Research problem of the study. Student teachers are the key actors in the implementation process of ESD. They would be vital for educational change also. But in Sri Lankan science teacher education program do not have adequate ESD opportunities. As a result, student teachers also do not have adequate understanding regarding ESD to comparison to the developed and developing countries. An evaluation of their perception about education for sustainable development is important for implementing education for sustainable development activities in our general education system. Is important for implementing process to achieve UNESCO's goals of sustainable development. I would like to say in this point, UNESCO also declared the period from 2005 to 2014 as a decade for education for sustainable development. Objective of the study, this study attempt to identify student teachers' perception about the concept of sustainable development. Second one, ESD components in science, secondary science curriculum, pedagogy and teacher training. The final one, student teachers' perception about the constraints and challenges in the implementation process.
and strategies for addressing these challenges. The methodology of study. The study plan to follow a survey research. Both qualitative and quantitative approaches are used. The questionnaire and interview methods are employed for data collection. Questionnaire was adapted from the earlier studies mentioned in my PowerPoint slides. The sample of the study, the 18 postgraduate diploma students of the University of Jaffna and 18 Bachelor of Education students of National Institute of Education at the Jaffna Regional Center. All teachers in the study sample are teaching science in the secondary classes also. Data was analyzed quantitatively and qualitatively. Simple statistical techniques such as mean and standard deviation used for explaining the quantitative data. Key finding of the study. First, student teachers' perception about the concept of sustainable development. The results show that the majority of student teachers have poor understanding about the concept of sustainable development. Notable finding that substantial numbers recognize the centrality of environmental, economic and social factors, but just 11.11% highlighted all three. The sustainable development has the three components: social, economic and environmental, and culture also underpinning area. But only the 11.11% highlight the all three. They address much important to the sustainability issues of health education, road safety and environmental education. They showed low importance to multicultural education, volunteerism and consumer education. Various sustainable development issues have been addressed at different levels in their school during the past year. The study has also highlighted the existence of gender difference in perception. The female student teachers perceived more than the male teachers. ESD component in secondary science curriculum. All in the study sample agreed that there are opportunities to develop ESD component in the secondary science curriculum. 91% of the student teachers agreed that there is a vertical and horizontal integration of ESD related topic. Their perception about ESD aspects in secondary science syllabus varied in the respect of themes found in the respective grade. The example usage of modern technical apparatus and sustainable food production found in the 6 to 11. Awareness about disaster management and biodiversity protection found in grade 6 to 9. And theme on renewable energy included in the grade 7 and 9. Waste management, human diseases, effective usage of natural resources and industrial production are each found only in the single grades. Second finding, the student teacher's perception about ESD component in pedagogy. Student teachers occasionally use the ESD related teaching learning process such as field trips, visit to school garden and practical work. They rarely engage science exhibitions, science club activities and educational tools. They also face several constraints and challenges in the implementation process. And third one, their perception in ESD component in teacher training. None had received training regarding ESD directly, but they had obtained training regarding a ESD related subtopics such as first aid, child rights, human rights, family health, prevention from dengue and disaster management through seminars and workshops. Constraints and challenges in implementation process. They perceived a lack of support within the school community and outside the school community. A few principals, teachers, students and parents have exhibited negative attitude about the implementation of ESD within the school. Next one, the strategies for addressing these challenges. They also made recommendations for strategies for addressing the above challenges such as enrichment of secondary curriculum with further ESD components, inclusion of more practical work and out of school science activities in pedagogy, more involvement by the government and non-government organizations in providing proper training and support in ESD,
teacher education programs should also include the ESD aspect in content. Finally, the conclusion. The majority of student teachers have little understanding about the concept of sustainable development. Sustainable development issues have been approached at different levels in their school during the past year. Schools face a lot of problem in the implementation of education for sustainable development. These are the references. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nilaran. And he is, of course, a candidate from the PhD program of the Faculty of Graduate Studies. We will move from education to linguistic variations in popular Sri Lankan media and features and perspectives. And this presentation is also going to be made by one of our MPhil PhD candidates. She is actually Malawi and Maveli. And she'll be making a presentation about particular selected FM radios about code shifting and implications on that. Thank you.
The presentation that I am going to give today is on linguistic variation. As you see on the slide, linguistic variation in popular Sri Lankan media, features and perspectives. Here I have given the, since I have used linguistic jargon in my title, I have given the definition of code switching and code mixing. Basically it is alternating languages within or between sentences. In Sri Lanka, where contact between English and the native languages has had much historical and social significance, language alternation is a common occurrence in the daily communication within and among the communities that make up its society. However, the deliberate and dense use of code mixing found in the media language of some of the popular radio stations in Sri Lanka appear to be excessive insertions of lexical items and phrases from the English language